All right, let's get back in the mix. Sammed, I'm at 2698. All right, we're very close in rating here. Let's try to send it over the top with a Scandi. A QA5 Scandinavian. That is correct. I do have a video on that opening. Or on that endgame, I mean. All right, let's go here. Unusual setup by white. Not completely crazy, but I don't think black should have any issue here. Now, with this, they're probably looking to play there. So let's just play... I'm going to give them the bishop pair if they want. We'll just retreat this guy. Yeah, I have some videos on essential endings using a physical board, actually. Have I thought of hosting a simul? Always an option. Probably not something I'll do in the near term. I have done a simul or two in the past. It's not great for viewer engagement, I would say. But yeah, you never know. Wouldn't rule it out. Thank you, Blade Master. Happy New Year. When is Dureski's Endgame Manual 5 coming out? Check the publishing schedule on Chessable. I have no idea. Let's go A5. And then... Knight D6 is probably going to be the answer if I play that. Let's go here. Takes with the rook. Interesting. All right. Probably going to send this knight into D5.
Hey, John, this is Guys.
Thank you, Jazzarine, for subbing. All right. Love it. Okay, this looks a little bit better for me, dare I say. This pawn on B5 is a weakness. It's overextended. I think white wishes it were back on B2. If I were to speculate. Is my opponent going to try to mate me? I feel that that is overambitious, but I'm biased. I mean, I have played these positions many times. Maybe I'll just go here and say, let's swap. Let's swap the bishops. And I'm going to try to pressure your C3 and A4 pawns. Okay. Queen F6. Queen D6, maybe? I don't know. Nah, Queen F6 is probably fine. You can't go to C7, because I'm covering that square. Just rather hard for white to get doubled up on the H-file, because if my queen is here guarding, I should be fine. Queen G4, okay. So let's double. Can always bail if necessary. But these weaknesses start to tell now. Watch out for the cheeky queen takes D4. Like if he plays rook A3, it can play queen takes D4. Because of the eventual... Oh, and there we go. I can also play rook takes D4. So which one's better? Let's think for a moment. Rook takes D4, queen E2... Let's go queen takes D4. Not running any rook H8 or anything, am I? No, I don't think so. It's a fun move to play. That's the power of the back rank weakness, though. So that pattern, you always got to be heads up about that. Okay, rook here, perhaps. And now the plan is this, and go after this pawn. And you see how white's rooks are disconnected? If white plays f3 here, I am getting in rook e3. And that further severs the rook. So I predict he's going to play something like rook d3. Plays rook e3. Okay. Kind of similar. But, yeah, white has massive issues in this position. Keeping everything together. Let's go here. And play f5. And now activate. Let's play g5. What's the plan at this point? I can almost like march my king in this direction. Let's go here. Let's further break down white's position. This might be a near Zugzwang situation. The rook needs to stand guarding both pawns. All right, he's going to lose one. Another one, that is. Go remind him that this is a weakness. Let's take. Hey, hey. And this is not completely over yet, but it's getting there. Okay, we'll advance this guy. Take. This coming. You can try, my friend, you can try. But even I don't think I'm going to flag this. All right. That was a nice game. I like that game a lot. That is exactly the type of game I enjoy winning. It was just a methodical grind. Better pawn structure. A little tactical spice mixed in there, right? Queen takes d4, flashy. But mostly I won this because of the better piece activity and the overextension of my opponent's pawns, their pawn weaknesses. I'm just kind of curious. That moment where I played queen takes d4, it almost feels like I should have some way to win immediately. Yeah, you can see rook takes d4 and queen takes d4 are the top two moves. Yeah, they're both good. Engine actually likes rook takes d4 slightly more. Same tactic. White cannot take. They're going to get hurt on the back rank if they do. And just wants to do this. Rook dc4, resume pressure here. Yeah. Let's see if my... See, I thought that this position where I got c takes d5 in, I thought this was just better for me. And that does indeed seem to be the case, maybe by a half pawn or so. Shamgar, hey, thanks for the sub. 9 months from Shamgar. How you doing? Hope your family is well. Thank you for checking in. Happy New Year. Shamgar is one of my students. That's one nice thing about streaming is you often have your students popping in. So cool to see you. Yeah, likewise, a real username. Playing Title Tuesday this week. Haven't decided. Too early to say. All right, good to hear, Shamgar. But yeah, is it clear to everyone why I was so bullish on this position for black? Hopefully that's clear. I mean, yeah, my H file is open and it looks like white is generating some play, but those pawn weaknesses, they're really going to tell for white. Whereas I have an extremely compact structure. This is an uninterrupted chain. There's really no weaknesses in this chain. A5 is guarded. It's not easy for white to attack. I have the half open file. So my take on this is if I can neutralize my opponent's play on the king side and basically just prevent this brute force battery trying to mate me, then the play is going to drift over to the queen side and white's going to be suffering with these weaknesses. You can see after I won a pawn and then this happened, I mean, this is a technical win for black. White's rook is too passive. White's already down a pawn. The structure's a mess. Now it's just about being patient, bringing up the king. I traded one pair of pawns because in making that trade, this is a further weakness, right? I mentioned how white's almost in Zugzwang here. And unsurprisingly, something fell after this. Actually, this is a pure Zugzwang now that I think about it. Because white, this is kind of important. White cannot move the king. Because if they go king anywhere, they can only go to the second rank, right? I've got all these squares covered. And that would run into rook takes g2 as well. So this is a Zugzwang position where white has no good move. White would actually prefer to pass in this situation if they could. Any move white plays loses at least a pawn. These are going to lose pawns. I can take with the rook or the pawns. Of course, g3 loses this. Any rook move will lose this or this. So that's a nice example of that right here too. Tom Walker, thank you for the sub, 21 months. Says that is island living with pawns right there. Happy New Year, yes. Sultan said, to my 1400 level eyes, the position you considered great was a little scary for the brute force mate idea you mentioned, but the endgame after kingside neutralization is obviously fantastic. Yeah, that's a good point. You know, improving in chess, guys, I've noticed it's a lot about breaking these preconceived notions that you have in your head, these paradigms, these narratives that you tell yourself about the game. Like, oh, I can't play for an advantage here. This is scary. He's going to swing his rook over here, and isn't my king open? But when you dig a little bit deeper, you realize you're actually quite safe here. I mean, one way to judge a scenario like this, let's say we gave white like 3 moves in a row. 3 moves, and we just stipulate that white can't do something egregious like queen d3, queen takes c4, queen d3. Okay? Can white hurt me with 3 moves, or even 4 moves of like normal build up in the attack? And you can see it, that's not really the case. Like, okay, we'll give them rook h3. We'll give them queen d3, whatever. Give them queen g3, but they still can't come to h4. I've got that guarded. And the pawn guards h5. So that's sometimes how I judge the danger in a position, is if I can give my opponent a couple moves on paper, 2-3 moves, do they actually accomplish much? And if the level of safety in my position is still high, that gives me the confidence to maybe play more ambitiously.